There are lots of occasions when you may well want to record more than one track at a time. Right now I'm going to record a continuity announcement for Radio Mekon, so let's first of all lay down our vocal track. And now for something completely different. Hey, originality. Now, let's play that back and see how it sounds. And now for something completely different. Not enough like an alien for my taste, so I'm just going to do a little bit of tweaking here. Select the area that I know we wish to change, and to create our Mekon voice sound effect, we are going to add a little echo, and I suggest that 0.3 for both delay time and decay factor will probably work quite well. Okay, we have a little echo and it sounds like this. And now for something completely different. But that sounds rather too much like a very handsome middle-aged gentleman, not enough like an alien, so let's add a little strangeness to this, and I would recommend changing the pitch. Not too much, I think that'll probably do. And now we sound like this.
And now for something completely different.
Probably could add a little bit more than that. Maybe let's repeat that. Let's have a listen now.
And now for something completely different.
Pretty good, I'd say. Okay, let's tidy up ends front and back of the recording. Now, I need some kind of introduction to this continuity announcement. So what I'm actually going to do here is to put a sound in front of my continuity announcement. And I can go and get sounds in Audacity by going to Project and Import Audio. And here's one I found earlier. I think I'm going to have a front end and a back end, and I quite like this space ripple sound. And it sounds like this. And I think I'd like my voiceover to start somewhere in the middle of that, I should think. So I use the time shift tool and drag that track to about there. Switch it back on again and let's have a listen.
And now for something completely different.
Okay, and I'd like something to finish off with as well, so I'm going to go Project, Import Audio, and choose this one. Which sounds like this. And I need it at the end of my piece, so again I select my time shift tool, move it along till it's at the end, and now I have an intro and an outro that sound like this.
And now for something completely different.
And finally, I think I'd like a little ambient noise going on here, not exactly music, but something in the background that makes it sound rather as if I'm on a spaceship. And lastly but not leastly, so we have to import audio, and I have one called Peculiar, which is really rather wonderful, and I'm going to solo it because it's so good. I rather suspect, looking at the relative size of these two waveforms, that this one is going to be a little bit loud. So, assuming that's so, I'm going to select it, and using the amplify effect, just turn it down a few notches. Okay. So now we have an intro, an outro, and some ambient sound. Let's see how the whole thing sounds now.
And now for something completely different.
Okay, my little continuity announcement is finished, so I need to save it. Generally speaking, when you're working on an Audacity project, you'll save the project as you go along. And this will save, as you can see, as an Audacity project. You just give it a sensible name, and you can go back to it and carry on editing it whenever you wish. But when you finish the piece, the chances are that you will need to export it in a file format that some other program can use, and you have a choice of 3 here. A waveform, which is very high quality but large, an MP3, which is pretty ubiquitous, or an Ogg Vorbis if you're seriously open source mentality. For our purposes, an MP3 is going to be the best because it's going to be part of a podcast. So here we go. It tells me that it's going to mix this tracks down into a single mono channel. And I'm going to save it now, along with all my other things. Save. It will ask me for this information, and if you're geeky and you like to include such thing, you certainly can give it a title and an artist and all those kinds of things. You can also decide which of these things it is. I have to confess, I don't usually bother. Now the entire project is an MP3 file ready to upload to your podcast.